By the way, with Iran, when they circle our beautiful destroyers with their little boats and they make gestures at our people that they shouldn't be allowed to make, they will be shot out of the water. Okay? Believe me.
A reasonable person would listen to that and say, no reasonable human being could ever mean that. The trouble is, an unhinged madman just said it into a microphone during his presidential campaign in public within the last 2 months of the campaign, where he's trying to convince the American voters that he should be the commander-in-chief. It's in the week of the commander-in-chief forum, and this unhinged lunatic says if people in their little boats make gestures to anyone on our destroyers, they will be shot out of the water, thereby initiating an act of war against Iran. How do we know that this lunatic doesn't mean every word of that?
We don't. We don't, Lawrence, and it's scary and dangerous. That's why Philip is, admirably attempting to give an honest assessment of this as if Donald Trump's a regular candidate, but he's not. He's completely unhinged, and, to the point that Philip was making about him projecting strength, Donald Trump has the most warped view of strength of anyone that I've ever encountered. This is not the, John Wayne kind of quiet, traditional American strength. This is a weak man who's trying to overcompensate for it by sucking up to bullies like Putin, by making fun of disabled people, by making fun of people who are weak. I mean, its strength is seen like by a kindergartner. And having a person with a kindergartner's temperament in the White House is extremely dangerous, and that's why I think you heard all those Republicans talking. No matter what you think about the need for all of the down-ticket Republicans to win, which I agree with strongly, you just can't trust Donald Trump at all, and you absolutely cannot support him.
And Rick, this is what I believe President Obama was referring to when he talked about Trump being graded on a curve. It is very, very unlikely that newspapers coast to coast tomorrow will have giant headlines saying Donald Trump will go to war over a gesture.
If you have a kid in your class that keeps flunking tests, if you're grading him on a curve, I mean, it sort of throws the curve out the window. I mean, Donald Trump has done so many things that are so far outside of the norm of what we expect from presidential candidates that you're right. And the part of the problem, too, to Rick's point, is that they've happened one after another. And it is hard for us to dive deep into one thing that he has done because he does something shortly thereafter, which steps on it, right? I mean, if you look at what happened over the course of the conventions and then the Khan family, and I mean, things backed up so quickly that it's hard to sit and actually take each thing out and say, this is a weird thing that happened that we need to process fully because something else as weird or weirder happened shortly thereafter. Not to make excuses. Absolutely. That is what he just said is something that is very uncommon, should be something that causes a lot of concern for a lot of people, to be as objective as I can sitting here. And you're right that it is not, however, something that is totally abnormal for Donald Trump, and therefore it is not totally abnormal in the context of this election.
Yeah, we've been through over a year of it now.
2013, on this subject, you tweeted this, quote, 26,000 unreported sexual assaults in the military, only 238 convictions. What did these geniuses expect when they put men and women together?
Well, it is a correct tweet. There are many people that think that that's absolutely correct.
So Rick Wilson, not only no apology for the tweet, he just keeps going with it.
Look, he is a black hole into which all reason and fact collapse into a singularity. There's nothing about this guy that there's nothing inside of his brain or his conscience that ever says, hey, maybe I need to not say this. Maybe I need to walk this back. Everything for him is in the immediate moment. It's always right because he thinks he's always right. And so there's this is like a lot of sociopaths. He just processes the current crisis and moves forward from it without any sort of moral weight to it at all. And so you see this kind of thing over and over again, where he's wrong. Even when he's called out on being wrong or being egregious, he just continues on his merry way because he's Donald Trump and he's never been held to account. This is a 5-year-old trapped in a 70-year-old's bloated body, and he acts just like a 5-year-old. He always wants his candy. He always wants to be right about everything, and he screams for mommy if he doesn't get his way.